up the roadmap channel itself. Mhm. Where the hell did it go? There we go. Alright. Alright, starting off with the stage itself. For every single person who has joined here with us, thank you for joining in and listening to the podcast. This podcast will most probably be hosted on a weekly basis on every single Sunday, hopefully. And yeah, otherwise, we will be allowing each participating member to like ask questions after we talk about the issues presented in the roadmap itself after we discuss it out among ourselves. But yeah, otherwise, starting with the roadmap itself, hopefully all HICOM members are already active. If any HICOM member is no mic, which means they can't use the mic, please use the podcast channel itself. Otherwise, we will be starting off with the first thing, which is contracted. Now, the first issue regarding contracted is more events in Asian time zones. Personally, it's more of just people in Asian time zones. They need to pretty much, I guess, step up for becoming officers or try to become officers as soon as possible. Considering I personally am a person from the Asian time zone, but like I can supervise any person if I can, but yeah, it's mostly just people from the Asian time zones stepping up for to become a CEO, in my opinion. Any other icon regarding
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, some people from the American time zone, there's some overlapping times, and especially on the weekends. And for many officers here who are like senior officers, like our coordinators, our M5s, M6s, if you see people that are like L10 plus and you see them doing like really good squad leading at PvP events, recommend them for officer. That's how I got into officers. I got recommended at an operation because I took up the squad leading position as L10. If we can find people like that, we'll get more officers a lot faster.
Zavi, do you have any input? I think he's no mic, so he's most probably going to type it somewhere. Mate, I'm not
Yeah.
going to announce that. Yeah, it still didn't work. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Like for the Asian problem, I can't
Thanks,
really
Tor. Much
write down,
appreciated.
can't really prioritize like in the application system as well. But yeah, of course, as 2/3 says, recommendations are still a thing. So
Yeah.
to any officer listening, if you have someone who you think would be doing good, make sure to recommend it in my DMs. Um, Alright, I think that's pretty much it for Asian time zones here.
Yeah. Alright, moving on to the next.
Now,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, for the next point, we're gonna talk about the variety in events. So, during Crunchy's survey, it was said that events were kind of repetitive, and I do have to agree here. Like, we have what patrols, AVAs, and creds, and that cycle just repeats itself without much um, variety. What we tried to do to fix this issue, well, JV created events idea channel in CO category where officers will be able to get some new ideas and discuss about them in like threads. And I might also tweak the CO quota event quota, yeah, to include some kind of uniqueness, like I don't know, a unique event would give more points, something like that. But for now, I believe events idea channel is a good start, and we'll see how it develops from there on.
Also, sorry to interrupt, but I'll like pin all of the relevant questions in the podcast questions if you wanna like look at the ones which are good.
Alright. According to me, for the variety in events, it's mostly it's mostly just officers not, you know, trying out new things, to be honest, because the thing with patrols and certain easier creds are it's pretty much easy to host it in terms of like actually doing stuff, and certain officers don't really cross the line unless and until they either try it out in inside divisions. So pretty much trying it out as trying out big events or lower events as like part of divisional event, and then most possibly trying it out for contracted. But like due to the current contracted reception, I think most officers usually just complain that they can't do any kind of serious events just because some contracted go out of line. For which personally I would be like, okay, if a contracted is going out of line, then you can literally just kick them or dismiss them from the event directly and set a statement there itself that if someone is going to be spared, then you can you are going to be kicked. So that's one thing. And another thing regarding this, in terms of like different types of events, is currently, if you know the event request channel, which is below evaluation, I believe, that's pretty much where contracted would usually are going to are supposed to post, like if they want a certain event, they would just pretty much post it. But like I'm pretty sure ever since I have been in Blackout and I have been here for a long time, barely any officers actually care or even look at the channel. At this point, I'm pretty sure most officers have that muted. So instead of this system which we got going on, we can have a like similar thing with JV built on, with the event ideas mainly posted by officers. We can have a contracted space where people can actually post event ideas they have, and if an officer may feel like they can do that certain type of event, then I think it can work out, at least for the contracted side of suggestions. Tuthas, you got anything on this?
I'm thinking. A lot of unique events, we should look at putting them in places where we would be fighting mostly at faction wars. It's cool to make like, maybe an oil rig or a dreadnought out in the middle of the ocean. That's cool and very unique and creative. But at the same time, if we want to be competent at faction wars, which is what we're primarily aiming at, I believe, we should be fighting more in like the main road up to UN building from FOB, like VIP transport events. We should be fighting in the force by DOU at DOU around like the new depot area is probably going to be a high area of combat during faction wars. We want scenarios that will be applicable so that when we are in faction wars, we're like, oh yeah, we've fought here before. We know different strategies and tactics that we can use. And also, it should be our probably higher ranks that are doing more of the unique events. Not saying that M1s and M2s can't, but they should still continue to do their AVDs and standard deployments after OIT to ensure that they are proficient in those areas before they go on and do something that is on a larger scale and a lot more strict.
And overall, I would say that I think we as Hicom should like at least pursue officers, or at least the CTO himself or herself should like pursue officers to like add a bit of creativity in their events, because like adding a certain creative element doesn't really take that much effort. Like if you're doing a patrol, you can pretty much turn on RGA and do like custom outposts. I mean, you can either make one yourself or just do simple ambushes by like spawning few cars along the path, or along the path where the attendees will go. Like these small elements might seem like too small, but like the attendees seem to enjoy it most of the times, who are not like used to this kind of stuff. And people who are like new to the faction, for them the current events would all obviously seem like amusing to them, because most factions, I don't think on the outside scale, do the type of events we usually do. But like yeah, in terms of like events, there's a certain responsibility with the officers themselves that they should always try to like keep increasing a bit of creativity in their own events, and try to keep trying out new things in terms of events too, so they can at least try out new things and try to see if they can actually do a certain event, or if they can't. And pretty much that's how an experienced officer usually goes around. Like at least in my experience, when I started out, even I was like usually doing the normal events, patrols and accreds or stuff. But like as soon as I got more interested into hosting, I did few events out of the norm, pretty much AVAs with either a new area of the map. Earlier RG didn't exist, so we were pretty much doing it on the vanilla map itself. So like yeah, as officers keep their interest in hosting, and add a little bit of creativity and control the attendees a bit. So pretty much whoever they feel like a contractor is going out of line, they can just remove them from the event. So like, yeah, I think this will most probably work out for the officers to like actually host a variety of events.
And a side note here, I really want to push for officers to not be lenient with verbal warnings and whatnot. If someone breaks PTS and you've explicitly stated 3 times at that point, give them the verbal warning. They get 2 of them, get them out. No 3 verbal warnings in a kick. It's always going to be 2. That should be the standard. We should have at every event because it's been there's some instances where other faction leaders have come to me and said, "Hey, this guy's in BO and he's being an asshat in my faction," and that makes me look bad, makes all of us look bad, but mostly me as the head of this faction, and me seeing that I just don't like it. As officers, we need to ensure that our members are not stepping out of line. It's up to us, and it's up to us to set a good example for our future contracted new recruits. There's always a new recruit or two at every event, and if they see people acting stupid, they're going to think, "Oh yeah, I can act stupid." So make sure that we are setting a good example. That goes for everybody. All L4s above, all officers, even Hicom, they all have to make sure that the future generations are not going to act stupid and are going to be mature and competent generation.
Javi, are you going to add anything? Or he's typing in podcast. Also, a note to officers: don't worry about people thinking that you're a bad officer just because you kicked them from an event. If they are acting out of line, it's their fault. It's nowhere your fault. Like, yeah.
I saw a quote in a fact prov, not really a quote, but just more like something you can say, is if people are saying that you're too strict, you can just tell them maybe this event is not for you.
Yeah.
Because I've always said it, is that you're taking time out of your day to host your event. No one should tell you how to run it. They can give you constructive criticism and things that you can change for the future, but they can't control how you host your event.
Alright. Does every HICOM member feel like they are comfortable with the things we just discussed? Accent two thirds. You guys good with the things
That's
we
it for
just
me on
discussed?
this topic.
Alright. What about you, Axa? Axa, are you there? We can't hear
Nah,
you,
we
Axa.
don't hear him.
Alright. While Axa fixes mic, if anyone has any questions or opinions regarding the thing about having more variety in events,
Does it
go
work
ahead and
now?
say it. What? Yeah, we can hear you, Axa.
Yeah. All right. So I've been talking like 10 minutes straight and nobody's hearing. Oh my god. Anyways, um,
Trolled.
for real. So what I was saying initially is while JV is typing, to summarize what we're gonna do for the variety. So we're gonna first finish setting up that events channel. Matty suggested some kind of community input to like we have events requests, right, but nobody checks it. So maybe some more elaborate suggestions about events which could be put forward in, I don't know, suggestions channel, and if it's good, we ping COs with it and ask them to elaborate on the document or something. That could be an idea. And maybe if this doesn't work, tweak the CO quota a bit to also implement the, put forward unique events and make him host more of those.
Alright. I don't think we need to more discuss this topic more out.
Yeah. Is JV writing an essay or what?
He's most probably writing an essay, but we we most probably
NCO
will.
moments.
Alright, alright.
He types out a whole sentence, and then we completely explain that sentence. He's got to delete it, moves on to the next one, and repeat.
Good point.
Alright, let's just move on to the next topic while JV just says his part in podcast. Make L15s something to work to forward. I'm okay. Personally, I think we already have given enough perks to at least the high-ranking contractor. Like L13 already grants you events access, which allows you to host an event with an supervisor, who is an officer. Uh, L14, I believe, is the rank range where you can actually apply for OC without having to wait for the OC monthly apps. And L15, just because we ran out of things to do, we just gave them the skull scarf, I believe. That's
Pretty good.
yeah. I mean, at this point, we are running out of things to give. At this point, to be honest, like in terms of the server, we can't risk losing the efficiency just because we just decided to give out free perks to high-ranking contractor. And in terms of the games itself, we can't really risk giving out too many items. Like at
We're
this
not
point,
giving soundboards. That's not happening.
yeah,
Two
that too.
officers with a soundboard is enough.
Yeah. So like in terms of the Discord server itself, there's not many things to go around with. Like at this point, I'm pretty sure any high-ranking contracted who has been here for a long time can abuse pretty much anything if we give a certain thing. Like soundboards can be abused easily by any person at this point. Even officers are risk to that, but since they're officers, we trust them to not abuse it. But like at this point, for contracted, we don't really have any kind of leverage to have over them. At this point, majority of the people who are already like uh, higher contracted levels, they don't care about attendance points anymore too. They just, even if you like threat them with demotions, they still don't care about that. So like I don't think there's any kind of perks we can go out with, unless and until we are including them in the official like functioning of Blackout in terms of like hosting events or stuff like that. Oh wait, we already allowed one thing. Yeah, for the L15s, they are allowed to host events on their own if they are eligible enough to host a proper event for the roleplay company. Yeah, there we go. That's a good perk. Uh, with the recent
Yep.
implementation of the roleplay
That up
company.
like here.
What, Axel?
You definitely did make that up right here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never heard of this one, but that's a pretty good idea.
No, dude, do you guys not even read my text when I posted in command discussion? Like, what the? Okay. L15 plus awesome. Dude, I literally posted in the bar too. Like, for the roleplay company, L15 plus, not L15 plus, but L15 ranks can actually sign up to like host events for the roleplay company. So if any contracted is interested, okay, for people who are new here,
Yeah, there it is. Oh, 14 plus interest. Yeah.
yeah. So for people who are new to the roleplay company itself, roleplay company is basically a counterpart. It's pretty much role players, but these will be events specifically milsim type of events. So if any contracted member is interested in hosting milsim type of event, so pretty much military roleplay, they can approach any Hicom member to like get signed up for this. And get it pretty much like get the ability to host it. There's already a specific role called role play permit which allows people to like host. Yeah, L14 plus L15 come under L14 plus, dude, mates. So like yeah.
One number change, and I completely forgot. It was not in my memory.
Yeah. So like at this point, I don't think there's anything else we can like actually give out which is truly valuable. We can't really risk bot perms to like the DJ role. We can't really risk that purely because people will be able to add music bots in events channel, which can be annoying to certain officers. So yeah,
It's a slow and inefficient soundboard.
yeah. So yeah, I don't really think there's any way we can like improvise the perms. But
Yeah.
like yeah,
If we do, it's gonna be either
risk blackout stuff.
on the
Yeah, Yeah.
divisions ground, or it's just gonna break up. So if you're L15, just apply for CO and yeah, or
Yeah,
just stay at L50.
yeah.
Pretty much it.
I mean, at this point, L13 plus is like the best perk rank because purely because you get events access and embed perms in general. That's like the only rank where people can actually flex. The rest of the ranks are pretty front and backward, to be honest. So I don't really think there can be any improvement on this any more further than what we have already done. Oh yeah, also L13 plus has canteen author. That's the thing.
Yeah. All right, moving on. I think nobody has something to say about
Yes, I do. Repost this Egg Jinping
No,
image in
no.
podcast questions if you have general chat muted like me.
Oh god.
Anyways, yeah, the second point is break the repetitive cycle Blackout got accustomed to. So the second point kind of goes into that direction as well. So the events part we won't talk about here. Personally, what I've been noticing is lately Blackout yeah, kind of lost its purpose in a way. What I mean by that is all our structure basically is aiming towards a faction war or a large scale deployment or scrim or stuff of some sorts, where every division will work together to I don't know, complete whatever objective is asked during the faction war. And since community hubs and everything has been dead like for ages now, Hydra had a good try, but they died, and FacProv never really started hosting. So what I wanted to work on in the midterm, like not right here, right now, but in a few months' time when I've got some more time, is some kind of joint events hub for Blackout where we can more easily organize faction wars, scrims, and such, um, and where officers also will be able to work together and create some large-scale events. So that way, I hope, firstly, to destroy that repetitive cycle, and also to to make interaction with the community easier and Blackout. Um, Also, the reason we couldn't host like large-scale PvP things is because BOC has been somewhat dead, but it's being revived now by F1 and Nova. And from what I've seen, they're doing a very good job. So we should be able to, I hope, create some faction wars and scrims. Not even like just faction wars in the sense that there's hate here, but like competitive scrims between factions in a few months' time.
And
Anyone?
with the faction hub itself, I'm pretty sure it will be much more easier for, let's just say, foreign affairs to like approach factions because if Hicom gets involved in like getting more factions to ally with us and join that hub specifically, I think it will be, as you said, much easier for officers to like approach other factions and sorry, not faction, but foreign affairs people will most probably get an easier way to like approach factions and just do the events they want to do as soon as possible. Uh, a great example for a faction hub would be what BW is pretty much doing right now with their foreign affairs hub and stuff like that. They are pretty much approaching any faction they seem like they are good enough to ally with the division itself, and then they pretty much make them join the hub, and the most of the communications gets carried out in the hub itself, and then the events actually get hosted from whichever officer is supposed to host that joint event itself. So like the hub idea itself is pretty much good, but we need to pretty much work on it as soon as possible. When since the main idea is from AXA, he will be working on it as he said. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this most probably will break the repetitive cycle. But yeah, in terms of the repetitive cycle itself, I'm pretty sure bringing more variety in events, which we discussed earlier, will also like what's the word? Uh, okay, will also like contribute. Oh yeah, contribute in like breaking the repetitive cycle of how Blackout would usually work.
All right, do we want to move on to the next topic?
Do you have anything to say?
Nothing much.
Alright.
Oh god, I'm getting ping from everywhere. It's awful. Oh yeah. All right. So the last point. Yeah, improved discipline competency. I've put it as marked with the new rules. I believe they're pretty clear, and since then, offenses have decreased quite a lot. I've noticed. During events, I can only encourage COs to really be strict during events and give verbals and kick people from the events. Really, there's nothing much to say in the podcast about that. It's more between COs and Hicom that needs to be, you know, explained.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's down to the officers really.
Yeah. Now, finish contracted. I think we could take just one moment and let the COs go upstage if they want to ask questions using the VC.
Alright. COs should have pumps to.
I removed them. They
Oh.
annoyed me. Now you can request now using the little button, and if you're a CO, you're gonna get up to stage. There. Oh, Nova. Yeah, Nova was here, but he just disappeared. You just press request to speak if you want to say something. I'll wait 30 seconds. Nobody wants to say something, we'll move on.
That's an L2.
That's an L12 boy.
Alright, I don't think any COs want to say anything yet.
I think viewer retention is
wait.
dropping. I got
Wait.
just the thing to fix that. 1 second.
Wait, Poppy wants to speak.
Oh god. Yeah.
So we have like just in this Discord server tab it says we have like 6,000 members, but like half of them are either L0 or unverified. How are we going to fix or do anything to that exactly? What's our plan on that stuff?
Okay. Personally, regarding the dead members, I'm pretty sure. Okay, most of Hicom is only skeptical about not kicking members purely because of the number we have. Like, I'm pretty sure we will just drop off like more than 3k members easily by just kicking every single unverified. So like, uh, I have had this thought like multiple times, and what I have always thought about is pretty much having a monthly purge. So like at the end of every month, so on the 30th or 31st, we can pretty much stop every single advertising for that day itself and lock down the server pretty much temporarily. If any unverified hasn't verified during the whole month's period and they are still just sitting there, if there is we can just pretty much clean up every single person who has the unverified role, pretty much people who haven't really verified themselves, and then pretty much the next month itself, during the first of the next month or whenever the purging is done, we can pretty much open up the server once again for like people who join in and wait for to, or just pretty much wait to get verified, or pretty much, yeah, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
And
Okay.
also, we will not use the Discord, prune function, which just kicks everyone who wasn't active in chats, because Blackout always kept their members. So if you want, if there haven't been any quotas in Blackout for contracted, so you can just join a period and just leave forever, but you're gonna keep your rank. So if we're gonna kick people, it's only gonna be unverified and not L0s, even
Yeah.
though they might be inactive.
I mean, at this point, we can't really enforce a quota on any kind of contracted member, to be honest, because Blackout started off as a faction which respects every person's time, unless and until they join a division or join a certain part of Blackout, like NCO or CO. Then at that point, they have to contribute a certain amount of work every month, but like not every month but every week. But like, if you're a normal contracted, you can simply just chill without any need for a quota and enjoy just whatever events they can attend and stuff like that. That's how I believe Zenga pretty much advertised Blackout in the early ages. Yeah. Any other Hicom wanting to say regarding this?
Nah.
Alright, so you guys are good with like the monthly purge idea, right?
I think that can help out. At least make our numbers more transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have another question.
Yeah.
What are our plans on improving L13 or L13 to L15 host, like event success ever people? Yeah, there was like two people that they didn't host well. So are there any plans to like improve that, or we would make like them like qualified first before they actually can like start hosting events even with a supervisor?
Okay, the thing is, we can't really verify every single L13 plus who like if they can actually host an event or not. If an L13 plus is risking the possibility of going the event to shit, then at that point it's their own risk. And if any person is just simply trying out on how to host with a supervisor, then I think at that point the supervisor should pretty much step in and help the host himself to like actually host it, because supervisors exist for a reason, right? They're supposed to supervise the event, and if anything goes sideways, then the supervisor is supposed to step in. If any supervisor hasn't been doing this, then they're pretty much not doing their job at that point. So we can't really say tell that every single person who has events access needs to be qualified in some way or another, even if they have to host with a supervisor. But yeah, I would say most probably just say it's mostly on their own will. If they are interested in hosting and want to host alone, then at that point they should just apply for CO. Like, there's no other way I could just pretty much put this.
Okay, that's all my questions.
Alright. Noah, since you were the second person, go ahead.
Alright. My fault. Damn, dog. My fault. Alright. Overall, So, overall, I'm just gonna basically just call out the other questions that were really answered recently, or as really focused on. But overall, what is the future of basically not only just R&D? Well, Master Doge did have a point. Like R&D ACS, but overall, like departments wise. Like for the entirety I've been in BO, departments have literally been the underdogs of popularity. They're literally not as important at all. But like, is there any plans to really make them any more intriguing as they are now? Because it's just really like a side fact in BO. To really think about it.
Okay,
It's like
that's pretty much more under me because I'm department and divisional overseer. But like, okay, listing of each single department. Community engagement, they already have an interesting thing going on with newspapers. I don't really know if people even give a read to the newspapers which they publish, but like, it's good enough content for like community engagement to be effective. And in terms of the IOTD, which they post, I'm pretty sure NetCrunch has been keeping up the consistency with the department activity itself. Otherwise, in terms of research and development, uh, for the RG section, no, I've already shown you what my plans are. I simply just need to expand on it and get the channels and the stuff ready for it. And in terms of the ACS part, I've already talked out with Master Dose regarding that. So yeah, I'm not going to make this public information for now, but yeah, when it's ready, when the information is ready to be given to the public, I'll give it out. So yeah, that's that. In terms of Department of Law, Arcane was at the start pretty much highly consistent with pushing out law operations, but later down the line he had to go inactive, and the members in the law department itself went highly inactive. Like, according to what Arcane said to me, no one was working, or they were either not working or they were not producing like proper law content. So recently, like at least 2 weeks ago, I pretty much purged the whole like, I literally just smoked every single member, like removed them from their roles, removed them from that department itself. And currently I'm just waiting on Arcane to like come back ally. In case if it doesn't come back, then at this point Blackout Lore is something which, the thing about Blackout Law department is someone needs to be passionate enough to keep to make proper law first of all, and then they need to continuously expand on it. It's not like any Hicom member can leave their current job and just start with the lore itself. Lore itself is like a highly needed, highly attention needed department itself. So like if someone actually steps up with quality content, then I can pretty much give them space. But like yeah, someone actually needs to step up in the first place itself. It's not like I'm not ready to give people chance. It's just that people don't really approach me, so I don't really know who's interested and who's not. And I can't really trust anyone instantly directly unless and until they show me some kind of work or proof that they can do certain good things. By the way, Kaval, Liam Konenko retired like ages ago. He's not really active on Discord. Sybil, I can't.
He came back though. He came back for like a week,
And then vanished again. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I need consistent people. I don't like at this point in Blackout itself. I only care about like people who are ready for the long term. I don't really care how great they are. If they are not here for the long term, they are not worth for the faction itself. So like yeah. Sybil, I can't really open your DM because I'm currently reading. Sorry, I'm recording on OBS. So yeah, if you have any questions, just do it in. If you have anything to say it in podcast. What other departments are left, anyways?
That's
Logistics.
basically all of them.
Yeah, logistics is under Javi, and Javi is doing pretty
Yeah.
well enough. So yeah. Uh, Otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Also, one more thing about the lore department. Again, with those maybe incoming joint events and like more larger scale events, maybe the lore department will be more inclined to creating documents and operations for those joint events. So maybe it will help reviving the department and creating.
Oh yeah, Department of Recruitment. If according to what I've been seeing regarding Jackson, Jackson has been working on it like consistently. He's keeping a check on the people who are working in Department of Recruitment, and he has been enforcing the weekly quota itself. So yeah, I haven't really been exactly deeply looking at Department of Recruitment, but according to the pings I constantly get every single end of the week when Jackson pings everyone for like the quota and constantly asking people which photographer is good enough to like get the photographer role. I believe that he is doing his work.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I check his channel sometimes and also server insights to see how many new members we get, and we're selling pro. They're
Yeah.
doing good.
For a guy who has discharged, he's pretty much carrying Department of Recruitment at this point. So yeah. Noah, is that everything, or do you have anything else?
I'm sure. Actually, no. I'll just allow F1 to talk. Actually, so yeah, that's basically all.
Alright, F1, I'm pretty sure it's like late night for you. Are you even going to use a mic? He is. F1, if you're going
No
to visit.
working.
Alright.
Oh no.
Okay, he's not talking.
Okay. Anyways, maybe he's gonna post in. Yeah, he's typing in podcast question. Oh no, never mind.
It's like late night for him. I was wondering why he was even wanting to talk. Anyways, I think we should move on. Yeah.
Alright, with the Hicom part, so be more chill with the community. Well, the podcast was one way to like, be more transparent, and we will try to host more events and, be more visible within the community and not just behind our like secret chats and just working on it randomly and posting announcements.
Yeah.
That's for me. I don't know about other Hicom.
I mean, at this point, we can pretty much say for ourselves. Personally, I usually just lurk around chats whenever I can, and currently I'm just hosting free fall credits just so officers can start hosting them. But at this point, the only officer who has actually done the free fall credit is Ankon, at least for the public. Shronomus was a whole different case, which I'm not going to talk about. But yeah, currently my public reception is he's typing. Alright. Yeah. So currently I think I'm good enough. At least I'm interacting with the most like the Asian time zone people and somewhat the American time zone people constantly over time, either in chats. But yeah, but my most of the work is mostly with me at least is mostly is going around and going around checking in divisional chats, seeing if everything is going properly or not, and then just doing whatever workload I currently have. Can't really say the exacts, but currently I'm working on the Department of Research and Development with the RG stuff and the AC stuff. Then comes financial. Okay, financial has been done. Currently, I'm just trying to do the free fall accreds so offices can start hosting them. Soon, I will start also hosting the navigation accred again. Uh, so officers know understand at least what they're supposed to be doing. Then leadership upgrade. Leadership upgrade is also one of my main jobs. Currently, I've only hosted phase one for the upgrade. For officers who already have passed the phase one upgrade, I have already announced to officers that they are allowed to host it. But the only officer who has approached regarding that is Arcane. Real Neon passed the first phase, but he hasn't really approached me yet, and I need to get start with the leadership upgrade after I can confirm that officers are actually like hosting freefall and nav on their own, because currently no officer is doing that. And yeah, uh, otherwise that's pretty much my main work. Otherwise, I just usually go around in the server. If anyone pings me regarding fixing anything, that's just my pretty much interaction in terms of that. So yeah, Tuthas, you can take over.
Well, I've already put that in the podcast channel. Is it being at events and also hosting events is what I want to do, because I don't do too much in terms of administrative work. I don't have any tasks as of right now that I'm taking on, so that's what I'm trying to do, is just hosting events. So I'm pretty much mostly part of the community, and I try to do that every day if possible, unless there's like a test or something.
So you're mostly just involved with the public themselves on in terms of
Yep.
hosting. Uh, so yeah, I think each Hicom in their own way is interacting with the public themselves. It's not like we are supposed to be eye candies for everyone and just always stay online for everyone. Each one of us usually does most of their work in the background and just chills over there. We don't really at least in personally I don't really like to be like in a public perspective always, but like yeah, at this point everyone has their own opinion, so yeah, I don't really think there needs to be anything regarding being more chill with the community and all. Alright, so I guess we can move on.
Yeah, I guess so. Is JV taping? No, he's not. Alright. Um, try to engage the contractor and general public, the latest, the officers, but only the other stuff. So yeah, for me personally, like I was reworking OC and CO recently, the new coda and such, which have, yeah, all the changes have been completed quite successfully after some tweaking for the CO coda, but that wasn't necessary, I guess. But now everyone's happy. And yeah, now that I have more time, well, now my exams are coming up, but after those are done, I hope to, create the hub and re-engage Blackout onto in the inter-faction community, and also like to fix the little stuff that needs to be fixed. If I see something with the major departments being in a stable state where they do not need to be reworked or too much of my attention anymore. And I think this goes for the other Hicoms as well. When reworks are done, we'll be able to create new stuff instead of just fixing the old stuff.
Alright, my perspective on this, wait, let me read the point. Try to re-engage contracted and general public. Yeah, I think that's a thing at least for me too. Like, I'm pretty sure I can try to like go around trying to ally with factions or at least host joint operations. But like currently with the workload I'm doing, like the list the list of work I said may seem small, but like it's quite complex within itself. And currently I'm also working on a new subdivision to sort of replace the gap which BSO left. I currently have mate and helicopter helping me with it. There's not going to be any exact details released on it yet, but yeah, there is a new subdivision going to be underway, and yeah, with the work which I have currently got going on, I can't really do much events. I try my best for. I'm currently doing, giving it my all for, for trying to get free fall and navigation known to as many officers as possible. But otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much it from my side.
Users, anything to say?
Yeah.
Well, I guess not. Alright, and the last point for Hicom is host events for officers and contracted. So instead of just, you know, telling them and creating docs, but how to host events, be on the front line and show them what we actually expect by showing them. Definitely. Well, once I got more time on my hands, I will start to host in UO time zones. Create, you know, show some create some new events, maybe, and do some AVAs and teach the officers or give them some tips on my side of hosting, like how I like to host. But yeah, once again, it's the time. Personally, I prioritize making changes instead of just hosting. So once I got some time and I don't have anything urgent to attend to with the Blackout itself, I'm definitely down to host either for contracted or BSC. But otherwise, yeah, it's when I have time. Usually, I like to host some small events. But otherwise, it's not on my like high list. I definitely try to do some regularly, but making changes to Blackout as a high com is priority. Officers can host; they have more free time to do so.
Uh, okay, personally, I just host in whenever I can or whenever I'm supposed to host a certain event. But like, yeah, once I get my plate of work clear, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be involving myself in like bigger events. But yeah, that's mostly just future stuff. I can't really confirm that I will be hosting higher grade events, but yeah. In terms of setting example, I am pretty sure Two Thirds is doing a great job by actually hosting the events. I don't know if any officers yeah, attend them or not, but I'm pretty sure Two Thirds can speak more on that. But otherwise, yeah. In terms of my future plans, I have plans to like host bigger events to set an example for officers and for them to actually try it out and involve officers with the whatever events I'm hosting, just so they get an idea on what goes on in the background and stuff like that. To the
Yeah, I don't want to set any I don't want to set any man, I forgot the word. Any expectations out of me for the summer, but there are some things that I want to try and do for the 2 months I have on the summer break. I want to try and hopefully get out some larger scale events. I tried with the Civil War, but in the end we had such an inconvenient time. There were only 10 people. But yeah, if anyone wants to help me out on some kind of a Civil War type thing this summer, that would be appreciated. I want to start looking at doing that. And also, if officers can have that chance to work on a large event, know what it's like, maybe they can start doing that on their own or in their own groups without my help. Already got the DM, thank you. Yeah, not much else from me.
is Javi typing?
I don't think so. Oh yeah, he just said, I can barely host because I'm mostly busy outside of Blackout. I try to make time to host some more events. Yeah, later.
To be honest, Javi is just really cracked at server work, but he's
Yeah, he never was a CEO in the
Yeah.
first place, which is understandable. All right.
Is there any points?
What
Or
else? Oh yeah, yeah. There were a few questions. So, let me see. Oh yeah, there. All right. The H1 we'll do later. So, Nyan said, if we could, yeah, get stricter events restriction on the Millisum events, because he said, apparently the
Same
yeah,
rate
wait,
as
I,
yeah, yeah.
I can wait. I can let him talk. He has a mic.
All right.
Let me just see where is he. All right, you can request nine.
If you have any questions, just type it out in podcast questions. If it's a valid question, it will definitely get pinned, and we'll answer it
Alright.
right now.
9 can talk.
I just want to elaborate on the like issue because like it's kind of just feels like people don't realize like what it's for because it's just react to the role and you get it and it just seems like people are just reacting there like oh it's a secondary events channel not like the actual one. They don't really treat it like full on serious events because there's still like it's pretty much like the same people who just attend regular events just go in there and there's still like a lot of sped in there. I think like maybe something to bring like a serious or maybe it being based off reputation or maybe like a tryout would be better.
All right. Enforcing a tryout will be a long process for no reason at all. First of all, second of all, in the reaction roles, the channel itself, where every single role has been like listed off on what their purpose is. It's clearly stated that it's supposed to be a more strict and more tactical side of Blackout. I know people usually just don't even care about what's written and usually just react to whatever they see and pretty much attend it, I guess. But that that part of even if you get like stricter like spreads in your events, it's mostly on the host to like actually enforce it at the start of the event itself. Like you know that you're going to host a serious Milsim event, just just give them a hardcore reminder in their head itself that I'm not going to tolerate any bullshit. So if you want to do any bullshit, just leave the event right now. And even if down the line they mess up something in the event or purposefully or act out of line, you can easily kick them and not grant them any EP. The host of the host of an event obviously has these permissions with them. So that's the thing with like officers or any host in general not knowing the kind of power they have in terms of like hosting events. If you see someone out of line, kick them. You have the permission. Give them a verbal warning if you want to be a bit more lenient, and if they still act out of line or if they still misbehave, you're obviously allowed to kick them. So yeah, it's more
Alright,
on the
thanks.
host knowing what powers they have rather than us literally cleaning up every single cleaning up a member to like make them a quality member and then you can host it for them. Then it pretty much becomes like a division itself. So yeah.
Alright, thank you.
Uh, all right.
Alright, I think I have one more question. I have Vladimir asked about the future of Blackout ACS.
In terms of Blackout ACS, I do you have something to say?
Yeah, well, you've been the one working on RG Dep, so I probably know more, but
Yeah.
from the way I see it personally, so since Blackout like BSO left, ACS really it was on a pretty much standstill when BSO was actually here on the contracted side of things, and BSO were actually the only ones hosting ACS. Now,
Bless you.
bless you.
I'm allergic to ACS, my bad.
Ouch. Anyways, as I was saying, so when they left, really, and Blackout being mostly a Perm 5 faction, so not ACS faction, it was kind of set aside for the benefit of like the whole faction in a sense, so that we would host almost only Perm 5 and occasionally ACS events, but we would not continue hosting and promoting ACS that much as we were before. Now, Nyan was cleared to host the advanced cred, which means that we will not completely give up that part, like the ACS part, but it's definitely not a priority as of now. And also ACS kind of started in Blackout because they were during Viper there were a lack of updates, but now that the game is constantly getting updated with shitty updates, but still updates nevertheless. Yeah, the need for completely new revenue side of Burn 5 kind of diminished.
Yeah, as Axa said, I was around the time when ACS popped off, like in Blackout itself. The only reason we even decided to even set our foot in ACS was because BRM5 wasn't getting an update. It was already been like a year in BRM5 where we never got an update. Hence why people sort of wanted something new. Like they didn't really say they wanted anything new. It was the then Hicom who actually thought about getting the ACS stuff going on. And back in the day, we actually had a Roblox developer who was more involved with the group in terms of BRM5 and wanted to help out Blackout. So we never really like paid any dev back in the day. It was mostly just yeah, it was mostly just developers who already were present in Blackout, and they wanted to help Blackout. So they just pretty much took the job of doing the events them like making the whole stuff themselves. Like there is a game in named Blackout, like which is way older than when ACS was actually even introduced. Criminal BSO doesn't have any future, they already left. Anyways, so like so yeah, in terms of ACS, it's not really our main focus because purely because we never even planned to bring ACS to Blackout. It was mostly just decided when NAR didn't update the game itself for like a long time. Delphox, that okay. Anyways, so like yeah, ACS was always a side gig. It was never supposed to be a main gig anytime in the future. It was so we can't really say that we will bring ACS up, but since certain amount of people want ACS back, we will try to see with the current revival of the research and development department. As soon as I get more ACS developers working under a payroll, a proper payroll, that is, I'll try to hire maybe builders or pretty much the developers which we have to make maps for ourselves and stuff like that. In terms of what you said, Nayan, it is a possibility in the future, but as of right now, our main game is BRM5. So we focus on what we have rather than what we don't have. Rather than rather than chasing new stuff, we should mostly just improvise on the stuff we have and then expand ourselves. Once our foundations are strong, only then we can add more to it. Otherwise, it's way too big of a risk to like expand ourselves without knowing the risk of without having the risk of losing the current stuff which we have going on.
Alright, I think that's all about this question. One more about the H1 situation. So, the reason we haven't been getting like an, of course we had Bird, but it wasn't actually like an H1. It's just placeholder pretty much. But yeah, as of now, let's be straight and honest. We haven't seen someone who's ready to take up the role, and actually, yeah, nobody as of now either. Well, there are some competent people, but if we get them to Hicom, we're either gonna lose a whole division or we're just gonna fuck up another part of Blackout. So for now, we're just waiting for some more competent people to show up.
Let's just move on to the other questions and quickly finish those up. Captain Goddess said, "How are we fixing Blackout dead time?" What do you mean by that dead time? Blackout, in terms of other factions, is not really dead. We host a good amount of events at a constant pace. There's only certain time zones which are dead, and as we said, those people from those time zones really need to step up if they want to fix the time zone issue for them. Criminal BSO left. That's the end of the game. Anyways, Captain, it's more based on the people from that time zone themselves. It's not something we can fix just by making some changes. So yeah, hopefully that clears it out. Have a H1 question has already been answered. Zenga, 3-year anniversary of BO. Personally, I already forgot. I don't even remember the date of the anniversary, like, and even if something comes up, I don't really think we have anything planned as of now. We can most possibly do special events for that time period. But yeah, do any other ICOM have any plans regarding that, like the 30th anniversary?
No, slipped my mind too. It's sometime around this year though. Not this. Well, yeah, sometime around this year, but sometime around this month or the next month that 3-year anniversary will be.
Pretty sure it's May, but totally forgot. Anyways, I
Epic.
just searched it up in announcements or something, like the first announcement, and this is gonna be anniversary.
What did Frag do with? Okay, the message just got deleted. Uh, anyways, Vladimir, the thing with uh, what are you saying, Axel?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Vladimir, the thing with having comp teams for other games is that I need people to represent or at least work on it. If people don't really step up, I can't really just make something new and just leave it empty. Like, even if I make space for you guys, there needs to be someone actively working on it. The main problem is if people don't step up, I can't introduce new things. If I'm only a human, so like I can only work constantly on a certain amount of things. I can't really make new things and then just have it lay empty just because of that. So as long as people are ready to step up regarding stuff, then I think things can work out much more easily. But until then, I don't really think I can expand as efficiently as I will want to. So yeah.
Anyways, yeah, he's typing. We're gonna answer his question, and then yeah. Meanwhile, I think we can move on. There aren't any major questions.
You know,
Or
we'll answer the pen questions after the whole
yeah,
thing.
well, yeah, exactly. We'll answer after. We have one more section left, anyways.
Yeah.
Which is the officers. Alright, so engage officers to host larger events to push them out of their comfort zone. Really, I think this links up with the two other questions,
Yeah.
which themselves link back to the faction hub, like the blackout foreign affairs, more like hub, which will hopefully create much more demand for such events, and also push the officers to create larger events and give them the ways to do so as well. So they don't have to, go through 20 DMs and refusal and everything to get possible candidates to host with. Does any Hicom have to say something about this point? Otherwise, we're just gonna move on.
I think this pretty
Nope.
much covers our previous things.
Alright. Now, so just to make more creative events, again, it's been talked about just before. Revive the lore department somehow and link it with FA. So the revival part, once again, it's linked with Crunchy's time as well as the faction hub, which hopefully will create a purpose. And then link it with FA. What I meant by that is have FA officers and lore work together to quickly and efficiently create joint events and documents, which then can get hosted, and this way we're gonna have a good output of joint events to engage contracted. This was kind of the plan, but yeah, of course we first need to create the hub and get people to actually join the hub, and then we can work on outputting events. Any Hicom has something to say about this?
Personally, no. I think we pretty much addressed this issue early on.
Alright. Then the last point we're gonna talk about is have a blackout timeline of sorts with corresponding events. So yeah, I think that could be a nice addition, like, have an actual lore. I think lore was started at least like 3 times under 3 different administrations, but nobody ever got some actual lore out.
Okay.
So
I would like to clear
yeah.
something. Ever since lore was started, it wasn't really good in any kind of way. Like, initially the lore might have worked out, but like if you look at the whole thing itself, it never really completed itself. It started well and then it just abruptly ends. That's literally the circle. And I don't really think any kind of revivals in terms of the lore department itself has functionally worked out in any way. But yeah, as long as someone dedicated steps up properly, then yeah. Until then, I can't really ensure the law department being properly revived. As long as I got other stuff going on. So yeah.
Yep. And also, like, once we got time, at like, to be honest, I think it has to be a Hicom member which does the lore, because they're the kind of the guy who got the most of the overview of Blackout. And then, like, once I have the outline, lore just embellishes it and actually makes the documents and stuff like that. But once again, we need time to do that, and priorities make priorities. And having a lore isn't very high up in the priorities. It's just a good nice have. It doesn't really have any benefits to it. Anyways, if no other Hicom has something to say, we're gonna start answering the questions. Two-thirds, JB.
Not really.
Do you have something to say about the prior points? Want to clarify something? Otherwise, I think we can move on to the questions.
Not on my side.
Nah, nothing from me.
Alright, JB, if you have something to say, just type it out somewhere.
In case anyone hears anything from my mic, just ignore.
Background noises.
Yeah.
Oh, and also I'm gonna be sitting around for another 10 more minutes tops. Then I'm gonna be heading out.
Yeah, I think that should do it nicely.
Alright, let's just start
Alright,
with the
let's
questions
see.
and.
Let's have a look. Yeah, there's a lot of.
Alright.
Alright, I'm just gonna look at the pin messages. Okay.
185 the phone payment.
Why? Someone said, why are we promoting Blackout website? It's very well made, but barely anyone uses. The thing is, yeah, it's nice to have. Once again, it looks good on the artwork, but how can we possibly make something actually useful from it? In the sense that, yeah, make something useful out of it, which is linked with the Discord server and the faction. So it's just like, we definitely want like transfer webhooks onto their website. That's just too finicky and too hardcore to update. But yeah, it's a good nice app, but there isn't really much more about the website you can do.
Alright.
If I add. If you want to fund them, sure.
What are the plans for the future of Blackout when it comes to organization? And I feel infantry should be its own proper division and have things like CQC group and that kind of jazz. And might we be getting any more division in the near future? Plain crazy. For that question, I only have one answer: the new subdivision. That's pretty much it. And the new subdivision pretty much has that in its main core and they will be introducing a certain type of lore events within them, and same with tactics. So yeah, then that's pretty much it. How long till we get our G department?
So what? We
Um,
have it.
I mean we have it, but in terms of that opening up, it will take around 2 weeks minimum, depending on the stuff I have currently going on. I need to set up everything perfectly purely because it involves actual money. So yeah. Have you ever considered making RG compounds? Okay, no, that highly depends, to be honest. Like you, I can't really. Don't delete the questions. I still need to sort of read it. Uh, okay. In terms of like having RG locations as part of the treasury, it highly depends on based on the functionality of it. Like, is it any kind of actual usage? Like, RG locations, in my opinion, currently serve no purpose purely because you can't add resupply stations. If you could add an ammo box or if you could carry an ammo box to a certain location, I could have implemented it in a way, in a creative way. But like currently, I can't really do anything regarding RG locations. At least according to what I can think about. Yeah.
And also the problem with RG locations, the moment you spawn more than 10 AIs with RG, they just start to completely lag out and don't actually shoot at you, and this like destroyed quite a few like a big operation I last planned because it just didn't work out. You spawn more than like 10 AIs, and they just look at you and like wait until you shoot them. Makes no sense really. So RG locations are not like actual RG locations which can compete with fort and village and locations like that. They are not possible as of now.
Currently,
On
the
God, RG AI are gonna take the top spot. They're gonna compete for my paid actors.
dude, currently whatever NAR has made pretty much works out in a way. So like we might as well, at least for the from the treasury perspective, we might as well just stick to what's actually functioning properly rather than risking our ways to like implement new stuff. Creative
Yeah,
builds,
and also good luck.
yeah.
Yeah, go on. Good luck regulating what kind of compound is like valid, you know, because
Yeah, that's the
it's just
thing. That's the thing why I don't want
what
to jump into
size,
this.
stuff like that. Yeah.
My tent in the middle of nowhere is a valid compound. It has a radio, has a lawn chair. That's a perfect compound.
But I've seen the factions do it overall. It worked out well, and just need to establish trustworthy builders officers to take up the responsibility. Uh, all right. Okay. The thing is, with that also, Noah, you need trustworthy builders and officers. I don't have many. Like I can say that a certain person to do something, but unless and until I get any amount of results within a week without them having to say that they are doing this, they are doing that, that's a real issue. Like I can't really go around doing my work in a full potential purely because people also have a life. I can't really go around saying that you need to do this, you need to do that. I have to pretty much balance the amount of work I'm giving to people. So I can't really just enforce or push new things instantly as soon as possible. It takes it takes a person's time and dedication themselves to get involved in certain things. Like personally, whatever stuff I do, I don't do it just because for the sake of it. I have an interest in it, and that's why I'm pretty much doing that work. And I'm sort of more experienced in it. That's why rest of the Hicom members are pretty much comfortable with me doing that work. So yeah, it's more of a person properly stepping up rather than me just going around doing that. So yeah. No, as much as I would like to, I can't. People already hate me just for being strict for certain things, and if I'm going strict on for the whole thing itself, like my whole work functionality, I'm pretty sure there's no chance of me being liked by anyone. So yeah.
All right. Pick another one.
Uh, why not
Why
just
not just oh Grandpa? Who is that? That was the
Grandpa Fiesta is BAC M6, I believe.
All right. Why not just overhaul and remake the current rank division system? Or wait, instead of keeping the old one, trying to fix it because yeah, okay. Listen, if you have excellent suggestions which would encompass everything we've done so far in Blackout and what your Blackout members actually like, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't add it. But the problem is to come up with a structure as huge as it currently is, and I kind of like it. You know, it's simple. It has those 3 steps: the contracted officers and yeah, NCOs in between, and Hicom. JB's gonna kill me because I forgot about NCOs. And yeah, so in my opinion, it kind of works out for now. But yeah, I do agree on some ways it is a bit messy, role structure and firms and everything like that. But yeah, again, if you have a super suggestion, why not? But I won't actively be trying to find a solution for something which isn't that urgent and which has proven to work quite well until now.
It's pretty much messy, but it works. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, Matthew said, why did we suddenly stop hosting so many joint events with other factions? Again, the hub could hopefully fix this issue. And also the reason why it's like literally dude. Hydra was able to kinda, you know, create some interesting events, but again, it wasn't actually joint faction events, it's just like they had some kind of buffer space between factions where every member could just join and have events. Then we have FacProv, which recently came up, but after like 5 months or something, they still haven't finalized their actual events hosting and lore structure. They just have their faction help thing, FacProv, faction provision. structure set up. But otherwise, yeah, they haven't hosted anything. And they had a meeting, I think, yesterday, and literally, yeah, they didn't talk about any kind of actual events coming up in a consistent way. So I feel like Blackout has to do it. If we want to make joint events, we're gonna have to do it by ourselves. All right, remove
Ah.
this. Also, other Hicom, if you have anything to say, just interrupt me.
I have something to say, but I can't really say it right now. Give me a minute. Just keep the message pinned for now. I'll answer it later.
Then Sybil said, remove default events access for contracted. Oh yeah. Oh, so basically you mean make it easier. With the Action Hub. And yeah, and the FA has been doing a wonderful job creating new bonds and joint events. So definitely, I hope we can add some new messages to the affiliations and allies channel soon enough. Yeah, the future of R&D ACS once again not even very bright, but as you know, we're working on something I cannot talk about yet publicly. Master Dodge. Moving on.
No, wait. Let me just answer
Yeah,
Mate's
alright, go ahead.
question. Mate, about the thing with officers stop hosting joint events and stuff like that. The thing is, in the earlier blackout days, I don't think no Hicom really like forced any officer to like host joint events. It was mostly just Hicom not having enough work to go around because back in the day there was nothing really, to be honest, at least according to what I could see. They were simply just maintaining the current functioning of the server, and as they got time, they just did the joint events themselves. And certain officers who were interested in doing joint events, they stepped up and they did the joint events. That's how pretty much joint events back in the day were mostly just going on. Currently, with the new changes constantly updating and with the new things we are going to implement, we don't really get the time to do those kind of stuff. So it's mostly just us prioritizing different work than doing more stuff for the like in terms of events. It's just us highly prioritizing the work we currently have rather than doing hosting and stuff like that. It's pretty much like how a divisional director would mostly just focus on running the division rather than constantly doing or getting involved with contractor. So pretty much people constantly just just prioritize their work. Anyways, move to the next question after.
Alright. Oh yeah, and since you were away, check pin messages. The last one is from Cybele. It's a very, very interesting thing. Alright, then Captain Codex asked, will the Zeus program be revived? Honestly, that's, yeah, okay, BSC state, we all know how it is. The curse, the M6 left, there's no actual leadership as of now for BAC. Nobody, yeah. The officers seem to do quite well by maintaining the structure, but I hope someone is gonna stand out sooner.
I heard BAC. I have to be involved. Javi, your mic is unmuted if you're not talking.
Yeah, no.
Oh, he speaks. Alright.
There you go.
Captain, in terms of the Zeus program needing to be revived, it's mostly just BEC aerial division which needs to be revived in the first place for Zeus to work out. It's pretty much like you're telling something in the division to work out, but the division itself is not working out. So like yeah, currently the officers are decently maintaining it. There's not like exponential activity, but like yeah, currently the A10s can't even be like spawned in. Yeah, so it does
Oh yeah,
really
also
affect.
that's a good point.
It does really
Ancients
affect.
are disabled.
Yeah, it does really affect the work functioning of BAC right now. Like literally yesterday, Ancon, who's currently managing BAC quite well, he wanted to learn the gun run accurate from Nova, who initially retired from BAC and made it. And while we were joining the server, we just realized that A10s don't really work. So like, we are they are trying to like expand, but currently in terms of Zeus, we can't really do anything. So yeah, and civil. Wait, let me read your question. Remote default even X. Go.
Bro, is there a BAC officer in here that can like give me a private trial, yo? Like, I kind of want to join BAC for a bit. Want to see what they're about, yo. On God.
All right. Sybil, in terms of people getting events access, at least in my perspective, in like when I was promoting people, I usually only gave events access to people who I sort of knew, and if I didn't know about a certain person, I would ask around with other officers and then only give them events access. And currently, in terms of the KKY situation with this event, it was his first time hosting, and not everyone really does well enough in their first time hosting. Like every at that point, it's just a learning curve for them. And knowing KKY's reputation, I agree with most of the why you are saying that. But like, yeah, uh, I think we can pretty much implement that kind of stuff, right, Axel?
Yeah.
I guess we can pretty much do the same thing with how we usually validate.
It shouldn't be too hard.
OIT.
Just like a simple check before
Yeah.
we give them.
In terms of warnings, server warnings and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll implement a system, but yeah.
So I'm gonna remove this. Yeah, alliances I've talked about before.
Criminal, we are moving up with the questions. No, you don't need to ping.
Yeah, we're checking the. It's in the pin messages, by the way. We're starting from the bottom. Um, infantry. Yeah, no. In the early days of Blackout, there were like an infantry division.
I
Contractual
already
was
answered it.
infantry,
Axel,
basically.
I already
Ah,
answered.
okay. Literally didn't listen. I was talking to someone.
What, did you remove Sybil's question?
Wait.
What?
Have you watched?
Damn, he really going like.
Did you remove Sybil's question?
Yeah, we answered it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Mate J, I don't think they do. Wait.
Yes, we're going to ban all squeakers from events access. Don't worry, I got you, Nova.
Good enough. I don't think they do good. Wouldn't there be better perk that we could give 12 or 15? That's the thing, mates. We can't really give any kind of perk. As we discussed earlier, there is nothing unless we are going to risk exposing a certain part of Blackout to like people who have L15. We can't really risk giving out any more perks at this point. Like even when we were discussing about, I don't think I was Hicom when L15 was implemented, but like I think I was around to see what they were posting. My memory is really bad, but like yeah, in the skull scarf only exists for L15 purely because no one had any idea on what to give to the L15s. That's where the skull scarf comes in. So like yeah, I don't think anyone has any better like. If anyone has a good idea on what to give to the L15s, I think it can work out. But currently, at least, Medze, that's most of the officers thing. I'm pretty sure everyone should know that L15 plus are supposed to be the only ones with skull scarf. So like, if an officer isn't really enforcing it, you either tell them to enforce it. If they are not listening, we obviously exist because each Hicom can't really be going around in events. Like 2/3 at times uses joins events himself to like check out an officer or something, but like not every Hicom can do that, and we don't really have some sort of special unit which goes around in events and checks if an officer is following the rules or not. So like yeah, That may be an idea, but like
Uh,
for now, no.
Do you think Shadow Raid would be a fair uniform to give to L15s if they have the Shadow Raid pack? Or is that too much?
I mean, they first need to buy it.
Again, that's dependent on if the L15 actually has the package.
Yeah. So not all of them would have it, but no division is using it. Nobody's using it. And it's a black uniform.
isn't there a Tiger uniform as well, Tiger Black? Or is this BOC?
That is for BOC, yeah. But the Shadow Raid one is not used by anybody.
It is going
Watch
to be
BOW
used.
disclaimer right here.
It's going to be.
Oh
used.
my lord, bro.
It's going
Uniform drought.
It's going to be.
I
used.
mean,
It's
there's
going,
one thing I was thinking, but
it's going. To,
I think a division is that.
It's-
Go ahead, Coach.
it's going to be used by the subdivision. So I don't think Shadow Raid is an option.
No, I think SOF. I think BOW BAC finished their squabble over it, and it's in BAC's armory now.
I think we should just yoink it, honestly. Because contracted have been asking for a uniform change from was it SOF for G4 combat to SOF, and yeah, started bracketing.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
they have
I
been
mean,
constantly
The
asking.
thing with
for
suggestions
change.
is people vote for anything they want at this point. Like when we initially polled for
Yeah.
the new division like the new uniform change, everyone voted for it. No one, like only the OGs who liked the old uniform and had their opinion on it. Only they were the ones who voted no for the change. The rest of the people just flooded with the yes. And when it actually got implemented, people could easily see the uniform itself. Like they could join the game itself and see the division. Sorry, not the division, but the uniform itself. Like they could have just seen that and based their opinion on it. But everyone just flooded with the yes, and it got implemented. Now everyone just
And
suddenly
then-
wants the old uniform. Like we are not going to go constantly back and forth just because you change your mind for a simple uniform. So yeah.
In terms of the L15 thing, I think the best course of action is either yoinking the uniform from BSC and giving L15s that, or just readjusting some perks in the current ranks.
I mean, even if you
That's-
allow certain thing as a perk, would it really feel as a perk for the person who achieves it? I guess if they're
At this
interested.
point, I think like
Yeah.
the only thing that we could give him is either something on Discord, but like a secret channel, but that's just cringe and nobody would like it.
Yeah.
And
That's gonna become trash pile really fast.
Exactly. The L15 are not known for their
Sped.
Tomfoolery.
and the other thing is in game, but in game, what can we give him? A weapon? Not really, because we wouldn't want to restrict one weapon to a category. Then a uniform. Well, that's pretty much the only thing I see. A uniform, but what uniform? I think we're pretty much using all the black ones.
Yeah.
So for now, I don't think there's anything notable we can give him.
We'll talk about that later now. That's
Yeah.
me
Oh my god, bro! I just realized we archived the Among Us train channel and someone deleted it. Oh my god.
Dude, Pepe smile chain had like 10k Pepe smiles. That was
Oh my
an
god.
achievement, and someone deleted the channel. So like, I'm really pissed.
Bro, BO history gone down the shitter, dude. I can't believe it.
Let's do it again, and we have 20k this time.
It's okay. Answering the other questions. New H1, no one. We don't have anyone, to be honest. And Vert isn't really officially H1 too. He's just a placeholder. For people who thought he was H1 without the H1 like name in his name, I don't think that's going to work out. Next thing, can we please wage war on a small faction for no? Well, I can't really say the word, but Kvevilkov, we can, but factions don't really approach us. Recently, one dude approached me. If you remember the SEAL team guy,
My God.
some dude from a SEAL team faction, at least what he named the faction, at least. He approached me saying that he has a faction called SEAL Team, and he's recruiting people from other factions, so he can train them in that faction, like in his faction, and then pretty much send them back to a faction as like highly trained people. When I asked him about the details of what kind of trainings he was giving, dude, actually, do you still have the pictures?
Wait, let me see.
There we go.
I'm recording on OBS, so I
It must look like you have to attend actual classes with actual teachers.
yeah.
Every week or something like that.
Oh yeah, you have to learn. You have to learn stuff by heart.
Oh yeah. Um. Yeah.
Dude, it was just too funny. And to be honest, I did approach him regarding like when I approached Noah regarding that. He literally he wanted me to like tell him to like convince him with it. And like I tried to convince him, but like he ended up saying that the faction literally has very less members and he can't really go to war right now. So yeah,
Should I leak it in podcast thing?
you
So
can leak
people
the
can see it?
pictures itself, but don't leak the channel we posted it in.
No leaking BRM5 military documents.
There you have it. It's a podcast question.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think we're getting kind of sidetracked here.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's continue on to the question.
Uh,
Thinking only unverified would still help you. Yes, okay, we talked about unverified situation before. We might kill
oh
him
god,
soon
this is a
enough.
big one. More variety brings
Oh yeah.
brings forth more.
Oh, I
instability.
think I answered that already in podcast questions.
Okay, I
So
did.
it's basically basically the point he's doing is, we gotta properly guide officers in bringing new stuff to Blackout and do not ruin the current equilibrium we have. I think that's pretty much his point, and not creating shitty events. And well, the events idea, webhooks, all of them, from what I've seen, have some information in them on how to host events, and we're always here to help. Anyways, moving on. Okay, this I cannot understand. This bit.
What about the okay.
Recruitment we talked about.
We talked about.
Yes, this also we talked about.
Okay, that's just me.
This we do not care about.
Yeah.
Still.
Okay. Let's address it first of all. To be honest, our reputation in PL5 has been shit ever since we started growing up. I'm pretty sure with the whole Zenga court case situation itself, it's pretty much been a wild ride, and I'm pretty sure we don't really care about what other people say about us in PL5. It doesn't really affect our growth, to be honest. Kids join us for the sake of joining us. It doesn't really affect that much of a reputation. Truth is just left. But like yeah,
Yeah, you said you had to go.
people just mold about anything they see. Like it's just the nature of every single faction leader in PL5. They just like to mold about other factions. That's literally what goes on. Like
And, like,
even if
be
they're
real.
appreciating.
Yeah, exactly. They just see us with 6K and they're like, oh my god, let's go shit talk them. We're so jealous. I don't know if they're jealous,
Yeah.
but like,
And with the work, okay, I won't really say the past of Blackout is controversial, purely because certain things were done by certain members, but like, I'm not going to go into the whole thing itself, but like, yeah, Javi, are you washing dishes?
also we do have kind of a reputation of being spin. That's true. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't really think
yeah, okay,
we
this
need
could
to fix any kind of
H1,
reputation.
bye bye. What if we had more of them? What do you mean? We want more members to go talking to PL5, and honestly, if we start talking about Blackout in PL5, you're getting.
It's going to be
Yeah,
just.
we are definitely losing our official position. If Blackout members go and talk over that, trust me, PL5 mods don't mess around whenever some degenerate talk over there. So like,
Yeah.
if even one Blackout member goes over there, who acts like a degenerate for no reason at all, we are pretty much losing let's just say official faction ship. So yeah, we are not going to promote any kind of like going to other servers and talking to them or something like that. But yeah, definitely not. Do you think that there would be a feasible way to increase event attendee numbers? What do you mean by increase? Like we already average around like 10 members per event. We don't really need an increase in members. Like at this point, we get enough members that the server itself starts lagging for the simplest of
Yeah.
patrols. So like, I'm pretty sure we are good enough in terms of members attending events.
And we almost never have to cancel contract events due to attendees, so I think we're doing pretty good in in that regard.
So,
Alright, so let's go. Yeah, the BL trailers. I wanted to work on that, but yeah, the snow came up, and then well now I couldn't start working on it again. But I wanted to work on the faction hub, so if someone, if another Hicom wants to take it over, feel free.
okay, in terms of
If
Blackout,
not,
in terms of like the
Yeah.
Blackout trailer, ever since the start, Vert has been the only one making it. Even if, even if like he retired like ages ago, but like he still just randomly wakes up one day, pings, contracted at a random channel and just says BO trailer shoot, join the server, and he just does whatever he wants, and cooks up a
Yeah.
trailer by that. Like I'm pretty sure every single BO trailer has been pretty much made in that way. That's just my view, but like yeah.
Wasn't Mango creating a BO trailer or something like that?
Yeah. Wait, what?
Mango. I remember he used to ping in scheduled events about the movie or something like that. Wasn't that relating to the trailer? Or am I tripping?
No clue. Captain, the 0.5 thing is a bot thing. We didn't remove it. The bot just updated itself to not count point numbers. So the point system was only removed purely because the bot updated itself to not be. So yeah, criminal in terms of updating the Blackout trailer, it just needs someone who's good at editing. Word may do it randomly, but like yeah, currently we have other work to like focus on. So yeah.
Right. I think we have one more pinned message.
Actually two. Lumps also send a line of questions, but it's in my DMs. So yeah. After I address Delphox's, we'll talk about that. So yeah. Okay, the spread situation. The thing is, at least from my view, ever since I joined the Blackout in like 2021, there was a group of members who pretty much like everyone who was here for during 2021 pretty much knows the community as a chill community. Like we did say certain out of line stuff, but that was only by few people, like really few people. It wasn't really like people who would say that again and again. Like there was only like one or two people who would say out of line stuff. Otherwise the moderators would just pretty much stop anything which would be going on, which would just seem out of line and all that kind of stuff. But like yeah, as we grew, as we kept growing in terms of numbers, people saw certain people being retarded in, not retarded in term, but like being stupid in like on purpose. They think this is my perspective, but like they saw other people being stupid and thought that if they can be stupid regarding certain stuff, then they should be also allowed to be act the same way as they are. So pretty much this chain has been continuing for like over a long time, and nowadays people take out of line stuff way out of line, and currently even if moderators enforce something, they just go out of their way just shouting that, wait, why are we getting banned for this? Alright, just type it out, Delphox real quick. Alright, request for request to speak. Delphox.
Okay, so the thing I'm trying to get across is simply that it just makes hosts miserable and not want to host more if we, like speds such as myself, keep acting the way we're doing. I don't think Nova really wanted to host as much as he usually did after what happened recently, for example. I mean, that shit was out of control from me and Sammy and Cyber. We were complete shitwads there, and that should really not be tolerated. Should have been kicked a long time before as well. But it's just overall ruins the mood of the faction. There's a
I-
difference between having fun and causing problems, and oftentimes speds are causing severe problems to the point where honestly people like me need to be better disciplined.
we
Like,
already pretty much said that officers need to know what kind of powers they have. Officers, officers don't really, officers don't really enforce the power they have. Hence, why people don't really know that officers can do certain things. So, like, yeah, it's more.
yeah, officers, you need to start punishing the speds, such as myself. I should not be allowed to get away with more than half the shit I do.
Alright. Anyways, let's just
I,
go to audience real quick. Alright. Uh, okay. Last few questions. I don't think there would be any more. So yeah. Alright. Where the hell did the questions go? Oh wait, it's in Nomad. Yeah.
We
Uh,
finished them.
it's in Nomad. Wait. For the lumps questions, it's in Nomad.
Oh,
Go into Nomad. I'll ping you and Javi in there.
boy.
Huh? What?
What are those essays?
It's in Nomex, so just I pinged you over there.
Yes.
Alright. So according to what Lums has raised, came to attention that hosts have the quality assurance lowered by 40% prior to host from 2021. This is mostly because officers don't really expand nor really enforce uh, the power they have. So pretty much officers themselves being speds in events, that's where the quality parts comes in. Like if an officer is acting sped in his own event, then the whole event is just pretty much screwed. And for officers who are actually hosting events but like they are getting disrupted by speds or everything, they need to pretty much know their power and they need to pretty much just enforce it. And yeah, that's pretty much what, at least from my side, I can pretty much say. Anything
Yeah,
from
we.
your ex?
I tried to host the OC meeting, CO meeting, to talk to them about this,
Alright.
and I tried to make something with internal affairs department as well to try and get this sped situation under control. But yeah,
Next.
can't really. Yeah, moving on.
Due to this, I really wanted want officers in this current OC composition to actually have seminars, less meeting. Already, that's a CO meeting thing.
Yeah, that's what I just said. I
uh,
tried to make some more.
yeah.
We've been having some big ones recently, but I tried to make one specific on
One specific seminar, I guess.
yeah, one specific kind of event for COs.
It just more says about officers not doing. There's supposed to be one group.
Yeah, the events access to be selected, yes. Cybel said something along those lines as well,
Yeah.
and I think we're gonna have that.
And
I think that's it, right?
yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like,
And then there was another essay. Alright, also if there's something regarding
tricks like I'm not going to allow that. Embed pumps in no mic for L15 plus. Noah, stop. Noah's about to flex his embed pumps. Anyways, I don't think
I
there's.
think that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it. I think. Javi, what are you doing?
Yeah? What?
We can hear something banging in your background.
That's for answer.
Alright, I don't
That's
really.
pretty much it.
Yeah, I believe so.
Alright, if someone has something to say, like questions, you may ask them now. Otherwise, I think
Zenga just pretty much explained what PL5 or people just do. Check podcast questions.
I think we can end this podcast now. Or does any Hicom member have something
Wait.
to say?
Forgot to ask, do we really need a comp team to go up against a BRM5 faction in a different game? Vladimir, with the current competency of people, yeah, we technically need a comp team purely because the current BOC isn't as functional as the old one with Turtles and Santiago running it, but it is being improved, and with the current people as a due to the whole spread situation, it's really just a big mess which we need to clean up as soon as possible. So yeah. What's the situation with OITs and the new nav and freefall? Epic, I am trying to host as many as possible regarding freefall and nav, but like officers need to pretty much either ask a private session from me, which I didn't really mention, but yeah, if any officer is listening, you can ask a private session regarding freefall, just so you can learn on how to do it. Same with nav. OITs, I'll announce it in for OITs if they want a private session regarding it, but yeah. I have been pinged in no way. I see personally have wanted that. Due to the cycling of retention from not
And Captain, are we gonna branch out on in game nights games that don't include being Roblox? And I mean, yeah, there were some minor game nights, but still, our main focus is Roblox games and especially Baron 5. If someone wants to host, I don't know, Minecraft game night, or
we already got a Minecraft thing going on.
oh yeah, good point, but it's dead. So
Answering the last
yeah, another game, anyways, another game. Yeah, they're free to do so in game nights, but the thing is with Roblox, it's super cool because we can get a lot of people together very quickly without having to logging in or verifying for a new game.
Alright. Answering the last question which Lums made, she's pretty much saying that the retention of Blackout members is like really less, purely because a certain amount of events purely gets repeated, and the event diversity issue is like it is a serious issue. But yeah, it mostly depends on officers actually doing other events. Like if Poppy wants to do an MTC4 event for contracted, she can obviously do it. It's just that officers don't really step up. Like we already allowed certain amount of certain type of events, certain type of games in Roblox to be hosted and contracted. If officers don't really host it, then we can't really even enforce it for them to host. Like at least in the old days, it purely worked out because officers actually wanted to host new things constantly. When Spectre and pretty much expanded himself to host fire team stuff, people were joining it. People were interested purely because Spectre and tried to increase his, like let's just say, work field. So pretty much once he got bored with BRM5, he actually tried out fire team, and he was actually a good host in it too. So like we can go on saying to officers that please expand, but it's purely based on the officers if they are comfortable with the expansion or not. We can't really just go around enforcing it. So yeah, specific groups like which you made is good for a certain amount of crowd, but like we can't really go around just enforcing whatever things we find a problem with. Raiding servers are definitely not good, Sammy.
Alright.
Still
You got
Poppy.
anything else to add?
Still Poppy. The thing with PL5 is if we are going to raid contracted, if we are going to raid with contracted and public servers, it's going to become the whole situation where a certain person was or a certain amount of people was spamming like join Blackout, join SASR in PEP, every single PEP game like 2 years ago or so. Yeah, we don't want that kind of situation with Blackout officially. So yeah.
Honestly, the moment we do that, we fall very,
yeah.
very badly. Also, I'm pretty sure Nor and the moderators are not gonna like it, so
yeah,
better avoid it.
It's like going into servers, getting a free promotion without any proper authorization. So like they can obviously take action against us if they see us doing that. So yeah.
Anyways, I don't think there's anything else to add here. We can
Mm,
conclude this podcast.
yeah, I'm just going to close the
You have a
recording real
recording,
quick.
right? I have one as well, but maybe yours is better.
Maybe. I, for some
Alright.
reason, I decided to deafen myself without knowing that it would also mute the audio coming. But yeah,
Oh,
let's just see what happens.
alright, but
Alright.
okay, then thank everyone